Standards are tools for success. They power progress and transfer knowledge in all directions, enabling research and innovation results to reach the market. Innovation is paramount for your competitiveness as well as Europe's. So getting those innovations to the market is a must, and that's where we come in. If you're looking to create impact for your research and to build trust in your innovation, then you are looking for standardization.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the Standards+Innovation Awards 2021. This event is hosted by CEN and CENELEC that many of you might know as two of the officially recognized European standardization organizations, or as we call them among friends, ISOs. My name is Giovanni Collot. I work in communication at CEN and CENELEC, and it is my privilege to be your host today and present this award ceremony, which is becoming an important highlight in CEN and CENELEC's calendar. Due to the COVID situation, unfortunately, for the second year in a row, we aren't able to meet in person in Brussels and to host you here in our offices. But this is not an excuse not to celebrate accomplishments. So we decided to move the ceremony online. This will also allow us to reach out to many people all across Europe and the world. By the way, just public service information. I invite all of you who are watching us today to join the conversation on Twitter and share your comments and remarks on the event by using the hashtag Standards+Innovation. Over the course of the little more than an hour we are going to spend together, we will get to know many interesting people and hear many inspiring words. In particular, after a welcome by CEN President Vincent Laflèche, we will hear a keynote speech from Dr. Sabine Ehrlichka, CEO of Infineon Technologies Austria and chairwoman of the governing board of EXIL, European Components and Systems Joint Undertaking. Finally, after this, we will proceed with the awards, presenting the three different categories and their winner. We certainly hope to keep you entertained. But enough words from me. Before we jump into the awards ceremony itself, who better than Vincent Laflèche, the president of CEN, to explain the rationale behind the awards and our research and innovation ambitions? President Laflèche, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you and welcome everyone to this award ceremony 2021, which is the third annual Innovation Award ceremony of CEN and CENELEC. It's a pleasure to be here with you to celebrate collaboration between standardization in innovation. Even this meeting is managed by Zoom. Innovation, you are all aware of that, is a fundamental topic in today and tomorrow's world. The ability to develop new technologies and have them quickly access the market determines who wins or losses in the global economy. In this rapidly changing technological environment, standardization has a fundamental role to play. In order to take full advantage of Europe's innovation potential, we need to create connections between policymakers, industry, researchers, and the standardization community. After all, standardization is a collective process involving stakeholders in the development of standards at national, European, and international levels. Then the research and innovation community represent a stakeholder group of particular relevance for us as European Standardization Organization. This year marks the third edition of the CEN-CENELEC Standardization and Innovation Awards, with which we celebrate those connections. We are not only celebrating, we confirm our collective commitment to strengthen those collaboration in the future. Today is not a CEN or CENELEC event, but a collective event. Indeed, nominations for these awards come from the CEN and CENELEC national members of the 34 European countries. Since the launch of the Standards and Innovation Awards in 2019, we have received over the 3 years 65 nominations coming from a total of 16 different CEN and CENELEC members. For this edition, we have introduced a new category addressing young researchers, which will be presented for the first time today. This new category recognizes the many young researchers and students who are actively exploiting the benefits of standardization to support their research outcomes. I know we are all curious to know who the winners are, so let's start with the ceremony itself. Thank you.
Thank you, President Laflèche. Ladies and gentlemen, as you might have understood by now, innovation has a very special place in CEN and CENELEC's heart. Standards play an important role in fostering innovation and in allowing new technologies to access the market. And therefore, the collaboration throughout the whole environment is key. To have a hands-on perspective on how standards contribute to innovation, we have invited Dr. Sabine Herrlichka, CEO of Infineon Technologies Austria, and chairwoman of the governing board of Excel, the European Components and Systems Joint Undertaking, to share her experience, which I think can be interesting for everybody.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to congratulate you to holding the event, even in this format, because the core element is getting together and exchanging. And as such, it's a great pleasure to me to sharing my thoughts on innovation and standardization. I want to start off by reminding us to the definition of, or the key definition of innovation. Innovation means bringing technologies, products, services successfully to the market. And as such, standardization is one key element of doing so. And I'm with Infineon. I'm responsible for Infineon Austria. Infineon is a globally active corporation, a European company with the headquarters in Munich. And just to share my perspective with you, I want to give you a little bit of background. We are a microelectronics company. We are amongst the 10 largest microelectronics companies worldwide. And we have clear focus areas on energy efficiency, mobility, security, and everything around data. Or to put it differently, you almost hear it day by day in looking at the newspaper when you hear about the chip shortage. We are currently one of the very few companies that has decided to invest in Europe, 1.6 billion euros invested into the expansion of our high-tech chip manufacturing. In this case, the investment took place in Austria. We just opened it 2 weeks ago, 3 months earlier than originally planned, despite the pandemic. And what we provide, and this is the reason I mention it here, is technologies for, I like to put it, tech for green. And as such, we are heavily involved in also standardization activities because we know from own experience how important standardization is. And as such, standardization is essential, and based on my experience, in particular in the innovation communities, sometimes or even many times underestimated in this kind of strategy of bringing technologies, products, services successfully to the market. And as such, standardization, of course, is a strategic element to develop or establish leadership in our technologies and in our key markets. I want to mention 2 further aspects that have not been mentioned so far. which is standardization and its impact on scalability. With standards, we are able to scale our results from research and innovation, and as such, push it into the mainstream. And the other aspect is the one on fairness. Open standards provide a fair and competitive market for large companies as well as small companies. I also want to use the opportunity of this keynote to call for action amongst us, but also to spread it in our networks. Having mentioned that my experience is that the huge impact of standardization is sometimes underestimated. I think we should jointly take the action to bring more focus on standardization and link it to the main research and innovation programs. So in particular, Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe. So basically linking projects under Horizon Europe and standardization activities. This could be a huge impact in further pushing the standardization effect, and as such help that innovations are not staying or sticking in the usual pathways, and allowing us from Europe to take the advantages of standardization. And in concluding, I want to mention two more components I think are important, particularly in times like this, and topics to be addressed also in the European standards organizations. The one is on security and privacy, to build trustworthy digitalization of our ecosystem. Due to the cybersecurity threats, there is a heightened need to standardize, as we put it, security by design and security certifications performed by competent third parties. And of course, the issue of sustainability. I mean, we are in times of the Green Deal. So reducing the waste by standardizing a trustworthy and sustainable power delivery ecosystem that supports the reuse and the repairability due to standardized and authenticated components. And I think we are all aware of how relevant and timely these measures are and should be pushed forward. So with this, I want to end my short keynote and wish you all the best for your event, and congratulations in advance to the award winners of this year.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sabine Herlichka. That was, I believe, a very interesting keynote speech that we just heard. And it gives certainly a nice perspective, and I would say even an optimistic perspective on the technology and innovation potential that we have around Europe. And also it gives a nice perspective to our work in the standardization community to foster innovation and the need to work together on that. So really, thanks very much. But now the time has finally come to get down to business and present the categories awarded. But before that, just let me explain a bit how these awards work. As in previous years, the nominations for the CEN and CENELEC Standards+Innovation Awards are presented by CEN and CENELEC national members, the national standardization bodies and electrotechnical committees in the 34 countries of the single market. As you can see, we are lucky to have a pretty big community. The nominees come from different nationalities, different backgrounds, and are active in different fields. But they all share one aspect. They represent outstanding examples of linking innovation and research with standardization. A thorough assessment of nominations has been performed by the selection panel, represented by a group of CEN and CENELEC members, delegated by Working Group STAIR, which stands for Standards, Innovation and Research. There are mainly three criteria on which the selection committee evaluates all nominations: their link with standardization, their impact for the sector in which they operate, and the economic and societal benefits they generate. Not only do these awards acknowledge the important contribution of research and innovation to standardization, they also celebrate the key role of researchers, innovators, and entrepreneurs in that process. In this line of thought, this year we have three awards categories: projects, individual researchers, and young innovators. So without further ado, let's start with the first category, projects. This award category, projects, recognizes European-wide projects, as the name says, that have actively contributed to standards development. 9 nominees were proposed by CEN and CENELEC members. Let's have a short overview of them, because they are all very impressive and worthy of attention. So we start with the first project, that's bbmri.pl. This is a project aimed at building a national network of biobanks and standardizing all sample procedures, as well as data collection and storage. And it was nominated by PKN, the Polish Committee for Standardization. Nominee number 2 is Cover, which worked in the field of human-robot collaboration. Based on its result, a CEN workshop agreement, or as we know them, CWA, is being developed, and Cover has been nominated by UNI, the Italian national standardization body. Number 3, we have EFPF, which fosters the growth of a pan-European platform ecosystem that enables the transition to digital twin and lot size 1 manufacturing. It also promoted the launch of a CEN-CENELEC workshop, and it's been nominated by ASI, Austrian Standards International. Nominee number 4 is Form Planet. It is one of the EU's open innovation testbeds for characterization, and it aims at increasing the productivity of the sheet metal forming industries. Based on it, 2 CEN workshop agreements have been developed. And this project was nominated by UNE, the Spanish Association for Standardization. Let's move on to project number 5. Project number 5 is HILINT, which is a research project aimed at creating internationally agreed protocols for the audit and support of practice learning environments for healthcare students. HILINT was nominated by BSI, the British Standards Institution. Project number 6 is FOCA, which aims to provide an artificial intelligence-based system which generates energy-efficient designs compliant with the lighting standards. And also this project was nominated by PKN, our Polish members. Then number 7 is CTitan. This project is active in the field of marine technology and wave power. And CTitan promoted the creation of a CEN-CENELEC workshop, which published already 2 CEN workshop agreements. And also CTitan, as a project before, is nominated by UNE. Project number 8, we're almost there. Huh? Project number 8 is Speedia 4P. Speedia 4P builds on the results of the Speedia project, and it generated a comprehensive portfolio of pre-analytical CEN, technical specifications, and ISO standards, addressing the pre-analytical workflows applied to personalized medicine. And Speedia 4P was nominated by DIN, the German Institute for Standardization. And last but not least, we have VET 21001. It is an applied research project designed to respond to the problem of the low European quality assurance framework for vocational education and training, also known as ECAVET. And it was nominated by IPQ, the Instituto Português da Qualidade. So, the Portugal standardization body. So, as you can see, we just saw an interesting group of projects. Are you excited to know who is the winner? Well, for myself, certainly I am. So, without further ado, the announcement of the laureate of this categories award will be made by CEN's president, Vincent Laflèche. President Laflèche, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Johnny. Then for this category, the winner is Speedia 4P project, nominated by BIN, the German Institute for Standardization. This project has been selected as winner for its extensive contribution to standardization. It led to the development of 16 new standards, working closely to both ISO and CEN technical committees in the field of clinical laboratory testing and in vitro diagnosis. I am sure that this new standard will help to improve the quality of personalized medicine for the benefit of all patients. Congratulations to SPEED 4P project.
Thank you, President Laflèche, and congratulations indeed to Speedia 4P, but also congratulations to all nominees. Speedia 4P is here today represented by Uwe Ohlmüller, and this year we would like to get to know our awardees and their projects a bit better. So I would like to have Dr. Ohlmüller with you a short conversation, asking a few questions and really trying to provide some context to what Speedia 4P did. So if you don't mind, I will start by asking you the first question. And thanks for showing the award, by the way. We're happy to know that it reached you on time. And but the first question is, can you explain in a few words the results of your project?
Yeah, I think the biggest achievement certainly is the portfolio of 22 CEN and ISO standard documents addressing laboratory medicine. And we all need, usually several times per year or maybe less often, laboratory medicine, because when we go to a physician, he usually takes a sample and then this sample gets diagnosed in the medical laboratory. And this result, of course, has to be as good, as reliable, as correct as possible, because usually a therapy decision is built on this. In Speedia 4P, we have addressed a special part of this medical laboratory or diagnostic laboratory workflow, which we call the pre-analytical workflow or pre-examination workflow. And this starts with us. When we go to the physician, we're sitting there. The first step is to draw, for example, a blood sample or to take urine or sputum from us. And then these specimens from us, they usually still sit there in the physician's office, then they get transported to the medical laboratory. In the medical laboratory, usually they wait again until they are processed and worked up before the analytical test is done. And this pre-analytical workflow, so collection, storage, transport, processing, is by far the most error-prone part of medical laboratory diagnostics. We know from studies that 50 to 70% of errors come from this part. This is exactly what Speedia 4P has addressed, and we have with Speedia and then Speedia 4P first time ever developed standards for this pre-analytical phase. And it's since it's 50 to 70% of errors, it's also the biggest lever to improve diagnostics, laboratory diagnostics for all of us. And since a specimen doesn't know whether it goes to diagnostics or research or in a biobank, this is of the same benefit also for biomedical research and innovation.
Thank you. And more generally, what do you think is the added benefit that standardization can bring to your field of activity?
Yeah, when we started, we did a pan-European ring trial in all European countries, and we recognized, since there was no standard, the laboratory did it differently. and there was no harmonization or standardization, or at least not in a sufficient extent. And we could show when we repeated this European ring trial and gave just a few pieces of standardization, even without having a CEN or ISO standard yet, it already led to significant improvement of test outcome. So this was the proof that standardization in the pre-analytical field in diagnostics really is a big benefit for all of us. So that is one, that this is the biggest achievement. Another one is we didn't know when we started. Some of you might know that we have a new European law for in vitro diagnostic medical products, but also in vitro diagnostics, the IVDR. And that has picked up some of the variables which we also identified. They are now mandatory to be determined, which is a standardization request by the law itself. And our standards are now a very good tool to translate this law also into daily routine. This can be in the companies for driving innovation. It can be in the medical laboratories for helping all of us in healthcare. And it can be in small companies. So in Spedia for PWET, also Smili Morium Enterprises, who very, very early, when they were founded, already used standardization, and they're both very successful. Especially one grew very, very fast, which is also a nice confirmation.
And thank you. And the last question is, do you think this award will motivate you to work further with the standardization community?
Yeah, this definitely does. Yeah, so when I started Spedia, the first program in 2007, I had really no clue about standardization, so we had to learn it. And now we are really big fans of writing standards because they are so supportive and helpful. And I can tell you this pre-analytical field, the first 22 standards we have developed, they generate already new activities, new proposal in the committees where I am on ISO and CEN level. So I will definitely continue to participate and drive this field because I'm also a convener of 3 working groups meanwhile.
Thank you. Thank you, Uwe Müller, and congratulations again to Spedia for P and the whole consortium. And congratulations mainly for paving the way to important innovations in medicine. So now I would like to move to the second category, which is individual researcher and innovator. This second awards category puts the spotlight on individual researchers and innovators, as the name states. There is no surprise in there. But basically, on individuals who have achieved a successful integration of their work with standardization. This category also counts 9 nominees, again, promoted and proposed by CEN and CENELEC national members. Also, in this case, we have a very promising selection. I think you'll agree. So let's get to know them. So the first nominee is Daniel Herbst of the Graz University of Technology in the Institute of Electrical Power Systems. Daniel contributed to electrotechnical standardization, dealing with various topics at the low voltage level and with charging infrastructure for electric vehicles. And he was nominated by ÖVE, the Austrian Electrotechnical Association. The second nominee actually are 2 people. It's Pamela Hassi and Subhashish Das from the Center of Integrated Care in Dublin City University. They are actively engaged in work on standardization for electronic health records and digital health. And they've been nominated by the National Standards Authority of Ireland, NSAI. Also nominee number 3 was nominated by NSAI, and his name is Stephen Darby, and he comes from the Munster Technological University, where he works in the Research Center for Advanced Photonics and Process Analysis. He contributed to the development of a standard on community face coverings in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Nominee number 4 is F.K. de Jong from Crookes Engineering. And there he contributed to the initiation of standards dealing with innovative technologies for geothermic structures. And he was nominated by NEN, the Royal Netherlands Standardization Institute. Nominee number 5 is Irene Camara from the Tilburg Institute for Law, Technology and Society. Irene examines standards as an instrument contributing to the protection of personal data. And she's a member of the Dutch Cybersecurity and Privacy Committee as well. And she also was nominated by NEN. Then we move on to nominee number 6, Laura Blazo. She's a researcher at ENEA, the Italian National Agency for New Technology, Energy, and Sustainable Economic Development. And Laura Blazo actively participates to the national standardization activities in the field of lighting and energy efficiency. And she was nominated by UNI, l'ente italiano di normazione, or the Italian standardization body. Also, our 7th nominee was nominated by UNI, and his name is Marco Sebastiani. He is an associate professor at Università degli Studi Roma 3 in the engineering department. And based on his research, CWA is under development. We're almost there. It's almost finished. Nominee number 8 is Professor Wolfgang Winkler from the Hamburg University of Applied Sciences. And Professor Winkler has contributed to basic research whose results have been incorporated into the standard series EN 62282 on fuel cell technologies. And he was nominated by DKI, the German Commission for Electrical, Electronic and Information Technologies of DIN and VD. You've already seen it, but the last, but not the least, of course, nominee is Stephan Panetka from ArtFi, which is an innovative company at the forefront of development of a new technology, which led to the creation of metrological standards in the electromagnetic fields protecting consumer health. And they have been nominated by AFNOR, l'Association Française de Normalisation. As you can see, our selections panel has had to deal with a series of very impressive results and very impressive individuals. Now, I can imagine you are all holding your breath and shivering with anticipation to know who the winner of this category will be. So without further ado, let me ask again CEN President Vincent Laflèche to step in and announce the winner of the category, Individual Researcher and Innovator.
Thank you, Giovanni. Impressive indeed. Then for this category, the winner is Irene Camara, nominated by NED, the Royal Netherlands Standardization Institute. Irene, as Giovanni has already said, is assistant professor in cybersecurity governance in Tilburg Law School. She is awarded for her work in studying the role of standards as an instrument contributing to the protection of personal data as a fundamental right. Congratulations, Irene.
Thank you, President Laflèche, and congratulations indeed to Irene Camara and to all nominees as well. By the way, we are particularly proud of this award because Dr. Camara did a traineeship at CEN and CENELEC in 2013 with our legal department. So it is very nice to see her back in her new role as a Standards+Innovation laureate. So Dr. Camara, as with the previous winner, we would like to have a short conversation with you to get to know you and your research a bit better. So could you please explain in a few words the results, the outcome of your research?
Yes. First, thank you. I will show the award now. So thanks for this wonderful award.
Thanks.
It's a great honor and pleasure to receive this award, and I'm also very honored to win this award because the competition was really strong. So I'm very pleased to be the winner of this award. So when it comes to my research focuses on the role of technical standards, indeed, in supporting EU data protection law. So what I did in my PhD research, and I continue doing now as assistant professor at the Tilburg Institute for Law, Technology and Society in Tilburg Law School, is that I identify roles where standards can help companies, individuals, but also the implementation of the law itself. What I do is that I frame the role of standardization mainly by recognized European and international standardization bodies and the boundaries of such roles. So standards are an instrument that is now growing in the field of privacy and data protection. And by privacy, I mean privacy of people, not only privacy of data and confidentiality of data. So privacy as a human right. So while standards have a long tradition in other areas like product conformity, they have only started being used from lawmakers and policymakers in the EU data protection law the past decade. So from that point of view, there are still several aspects that need to be framed and clarified on how and where standards can best deliver and be fit for purpose for the needs of EU data protection laws and also electronic communications privacy. And this is an important area, as we also heard from the keynote speaker today. So data portability, data protection by default, data subject access requests are some of those areas. And my PhD research did exactly that. And I'm very happy that NEN, so the Dutch Standardization Institute, has given me the opportunity to join their technical committee and to invite me to be part of this technical committee and contribute my knowledge from my research directly into standard development. So that's a very important also for a legal scholar to be able to transfer all the knowledge into something more tangible. So that would be briefly my my research.
Thank you very much. It's really impressive. You already addressed the topic of the second question a bit, but I would like to ask you more specifically, what is the value added of your project for standardization and for the industry?
Yeah, well, actually, my project translates legal requirements to areas for standardization. So, in that respect, I identify what is the framework, how what is allowed by legislation, and what is desirable by policymakers in the European Union. And I identify those areas and frame the role of standardization in the field. But also I think as an academic and as a legal scholar, as being part of civil society, I think we academics and scholars in general can contribute a different perspective into the standardization work. We understand the needs and the interests of industry, but we also communicate the perspective of civil society, and that's very important in an area like privacy and data protection. We can also offer a cross-discipline perspective. So, for instance, now we're working, and I'm also working on the proposal for AI regulation because standards have a very prominent role there as well. And academics and research in this field can also offer this this interaction between different fields of policymaking and standardization activity.
Thank you. And now we conclude with an easier question, which is, are you motivated now to keep on working and work further with the standardization community also for the future?
Well, yes, and this is certainly a yes. This award really motivates me to work further in standardization. And as a legal scholar, I wouldn't expect a few years, around 8 years ago when I started working in the field, I really had to prove and explain a lot what my research is about, because it's not a given that a legal scholar works on standardization and data protection. But of course, the field has evolved a lot in the past years. And awards like this one, they certainly give a boost to people that work in the field. But of course, I should mention that besides this award, it's very important that during my PhD research in the field, I had wonderful supervisors, Kay Sturman, Eleni Costa, and Paul de Hert, and a great supportive environment, Tilburg Law School and the Free University of Brussels. And of course, NEN, because NEN actually made me part of working on standardization on the ground. And I'm particularly grateful to Yinging Lau from NEN for all her support, and Jolien van Zetten. So here at TILT, we have a very active standardization group. We don't work only on cybersecurity and data protection, but also AI, energy, the environment, trade. And I think this award gives a boost to all this community of Tilburg Law School to continue working and contributing to standardization.
Thank you, Irene Camara. And I think what you said is very interesting also because it gives a good perspective also to the people who are watching us and maybe they don't know very well what CEN and CENELEC do, the word standardization. And as you can see, standardization is very horizontal and it's also a sector in evolution, and it deals with a lot of different sectors and it interacts with evolving technologies. So thanks for providing us with a glimpse of your work, and congratulations again for your impressive work.
Thank you.
Last but not least, the time has come for the third category, young researcher. As our president, Vincent Laflèche, has already mentioned, this is a very special category because it is new. Indeed, it has been launched for the first time this year, and it aims to award an individual student or researcher for the work done for academic theses, doctoral dissertations, or other university research projects addressing standardization. For this category, we received 5 nominations of brilliant students. Let's get to know them. So we start with the first nominee for the Young Researchers Awards 2021. His name is Benedict Ufnago, and Benedict's area of research is on the detection of microplastics in products and in the environment. And based on his work, he founded the startup Purency, and has been nominated by Austrian Standards International. As for our second nominee, we have Nader S. Labib. He did a PhD on a joint research program between ILNAS and the University of Luxembourg. And Mr. Labib's research focused on distributed unmanned aerial vehicles, or as are also known UAVs, the drones, and for their traffic management. And is nominated by ILNAS, Luxembourg's national standardization body. Nominee number 3 is Saharnaz Dilmahani. She also pursued a PhD in the frame of a joint research program between ILNAS and the University of Luxembourg. And her expertise lies in data analysis, machine learning, AI, data protection, and security domains. And she also was nominated by ILNAS. Nominee number 4 is Stijn Veenstra from the Rotterdam School of Management at the Erasmus University. Stijn studied the cases of European companies in the machine industry that exports to the US, analyzing European versus American standards. And he was nominated by NEN, the Royal Netherlands Standardization Institute. And finally, last but not least, the 5th nominee is Tobias Leiting from the Institute of Industrial Management at the Technical University of Aachen. And he developed a research paper which describes the benefits for SMEs and the increase in efficiency they reach through the application of DIN specification 91404 on maintenance processes, and is nominated by the German Institute for Standardization, DIN, So they are all impressive and worthy of praise, but who will get the first edition of the Young Researcher Award? Please allow me to invite once again SEM President Vincent Laflèche to step in and announce the winner.
Thank you. Then this award goes to Shahnaz Dilmahani, nominated by ELNAS, Institut luxembourgeois de la normalisation, de l'accréditation, de la sécurité et qualité des produits et services. She recently completed her PhD at the Interdisciplinary Center for Security, Reliability and Trust of University of Luxembourg. In her research, she explored the role of standardization for artificial intelligence and big data. The outcomes of her research have been instrumental for the work of CEN and CENELEC focus group on artificial intelligence and ISO-IEC Joint Technical Committee on Artificial Intelligence. Congratulations.
Congratulations indeed to Shahnaz Dilmahani for her important contribution to the field of AI, a technology which is key for the future of all of us. But also congratulations to all nominees. It is really nice to see such young and promising faces working on standardization. The future is very bright. So, Shahnaz, as I did with your fellow winners, I would like to also ask you a few questions and have a short conversation with you. So
sure. So sorry, just
okay,
first of all,
course.
I just wanted to say thank you. Sorry to interrupt you, and thank you for the nice trophy that you have sent me. Of course, among the different projects that I've heard so far from the beginning, I don't think I have done a quite significant work, but I'm so happy that I'm part of the community now. And well, pretty much happy and very proud to be here now today.
And we're very happy to have you in the community. But so, can you explain a few words the results of your research?
Sure. So, well, I mostly worked on AI and big data in general. My initial research was focused on developing algorithms in data analytics and artificial intelligence. But also, I'm so happy that I've been given the opportunity to be part of this joint program between university and the national standardization body at Luxembourg. So within this group, we were working on simply linking the research to standardization and also like to find the gaps in between. So we had contributions in standardization, but also we tried to use standardization as references in our publications. And it was quite interesting that we could attract many researchers by this, and some of our publications got really like it was interesting for from different researchers' perspective.
Thank you. And what is, according to you, the value added of your project for standardization and for the industry?
So within this project, we mostly focused on trustworthiness aspect of AI and privacy and data protection. So as I've heard from the other winners and also the keynote speakers, and as you may know now, this is really a key and important factor because like there are AI has been grown up and it's growing so fast. So standardization and standardization body, national bodies are really playing an important role to define and put a frame to this technology that is growing so fast and kind of unleash this. Well, what I was trying to do during my PhD study was to first highlight, like find the research contributions and then trying to link to the gaps that exist in standardization. SC42 in ISO was just like recently created, like in the last 3-4 years. So there are a lot of work to contribute to define new items. I was trying to play a role by bringing like the outcomes from research society to these communities and to participate in the new items that were defined. With CEN and CENELEC, I was so happy that I got this opportunity to be part of the focus group of AI And there are also interesting works going on, especially regarding AI assessment. I'm pretty happy to be part of it. And well, I think this would be really great if we can, make a connection between research and standardization so that we can use the outcomes on the other side, and also to introduce standardization, not just as something that delays the innovation, but something that actually creates innovation and boosts the technology in the right way.
Thank you. That was the last point you mentioned is a very relevant one, which is close to our heart, and it's also part of our ambition for the next 10 years. That for those of you interested, you can read in our strategy 2030. We have the document on our website, and we among the objectives there's also to increase the contribution of standardization to innovation. But as a third question, I would like to ask you the thing that I have asked everybody else, which is if this award will motivate you to work further with the standardization community.
Well, yes, indeed. So I think this is a really great opportunity, like having this kind of challenges and being part of this community, and also like to be in to have awards and ceremonies like this, because I think it will really boost and introduce other people, researchers and innovators, to know well what are the things are going on, and like the projects that were already explained. I think there are good examples to see, to actually to promote to the society, and to find what is the correlation, where the connection makes sense. So I think I will do also my best in case of first of all, make this awareness, because I think there's still this traditional way of thinking about standardization has some limits, and something that takes so long to get published and to get to see the outcome. But I feel like it would be really important, and it is I can play a role in that to help other people to know what's going on and how we can contribute. So it's not like that we wait until the end that some publication came out and then we can use it, but it's most important to participate in between, and to try to develop these items within this standardization. So of course, I think it is a really great honor to have this, and it's kind of conclude my PhD chapter. Of course, I will remember it, and I will do my best to promote it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarna Slimani, and good luck for your future endeavors also. And there is no doubt, today we have met 3 worthy winners. I hope they can be of inspiration for other people and projects all around Europe, so that this award competition can welcome more and more participants in future editions. But unfortunately, the 2021 edition is coming to a close. Before we say goodbye, though, I would like to dedicate a few words to our president, CEN's president, Vincent Laflèche, who today acted so well as a host and in announcing the winners. Indeed, this edition has been the last one for Mr. Laflèche as a CEN president. At the end of the year, his mandate will end. Therefore, I would like to thank him on behalf of the whole CEN and CENELEC community for all his work in the past years. It is his particular commitment to innovation and research, demonstrated in his role as CEN and CENELEC Innovation Ambassador, that made an event such as these awards possible, and we know how close they are to his heart. President Laflèche, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Giovanni, for those kind words. At first, I would like to congratulate again with the winners. The winners will be invited to the CEN and CENELEC General Assembly in Palermo in November as a proof of the recognition we want to give them. And it's always better to have a real meeting than a Zoom meeting, of course. I would like also now to congratulate with all the other nominees. They have been selected. They have not been selected as winner, but they have been nominated anyway. We had a very interesting panel of nominees working on diverse innovative topics as collaborative robotics, nanotechnologies, agile manufacturing, cybersecurity, and many more. This is all very inspiring and remind us that we need to ensure innovation and as early as possible to enable European innovators to set the standards for the global market.
President Lafleche, at the end of this year, you are finishing your mandate as a CEN president. What is the biggest achievement you are proud of?
Thank you, Giovanni. You know, my main occupation, I am Dean and CEO of École des Mines de Paris, which activity is an engineering school, but 80% of its activity is dedicated to research. So, of course, the innovation plan we launched 3 years ago was a significant goal that has been achieved. We succeed to make innovation as a strategic priority for CEN and CENELEC and their national member, and there was a global consensual commitment. As a result, we now all recognize the importance of offering a welcoming standardization system for the innovation community. These awards have been launched as part of the innovation plan, as you told us, you explained a few minutes ago, Giovanni, and I am very proud of this initiative. But we are just at the beginning of integrating standards and research innovation, and a lot is still to be done. We need to work together strategically to make sure that innovation are developed and access the market as soon as possible. As CEN president, I would like also to underline the work, not only on innovation, but the work we have done together, CEN and CENELEC, to achieve in June this year updated status for CEN and CENELEC. I would like to thank CCMC staff for the strong and professional support. I would like also to thank my colleague Danny, CENELEC chairman, for the quality of the collaboration.
So, thank you, President Lafleche. And how do you see the future of CEN and CENELEC in integrating research and innovation? Is it bright? Are you optimistic?
The motivation we had at the beginning of the plan is still the same. Innovation is going faster and faster, and from innovation to the market, the time has decreased. I think this plan is really a strategic tool, as I have said. And we have a very efficient tool that is the CEN workshop agreement. And I know there is an equivalent for the CENELEC community. This is demonstrated by the fact that several of the projects nominated for these awards have contributed to a CEN workshop agreement. Moreover, over the last 5 years, almost 50 CEN workshop agreements have been developed from the result of an European funded research project. Therefore, we should keep promoting the use of CEN workshop agreement, or the equivalent for CENELEC, among the research and innovation community. The recently approved CEN-CENELEC Strategy 2030, which will guide our activity for the next decade, renewed our commitment to focus on innovation. We should always remember to keep researchers and innovators at the center of our activities. We must give signal to researchers. Some of our nominees and winners are coming from the academic research side. The contribution to a standard should be recognized as a scientific publication of a very good ranking, if possible. It is key that they recognize and we recognize that standardization is beneficial for them and start using it. Thank you.
Thank you, President Lafleche, for your words and for your work. Wherever you are following us from, I would like to ask for a big round of applause for him from all of you. Now, if you have been inspired by the projects you discovered today, or would like to know more about any of the nominees, or about the work of CEN and CENELEC, all you have to do is visit our website, which has also been recently rebranded at www.cencenelec.eu. So we really have reached the end of the ceremony, sadly. I would like to thank you all for participating, and congratulations again to all our nominees and winners. It has been a pleasure for me to be here with you, even if only for a moment in a virtual form. hopefully next year we will finally be able to host you in person in Brussels or maybe somewhere else for the 4th edition of the Standards+Innovation Awards. Goodbye, and thank you very much.